Okay, sure, let's try again here. Let's see. All right, can we give it a shot here? All right, so we were supposed to be looking at this. Let's see if it works. Basics, and we're in functions, degrees. Yeah, so that one's fine. So that's where we were last? Okay. Man, I was going so slow yesterday, and I'll probably go just as slow today, but let's just see the next one. Oh, it's a quiz again. Reference the example functions and answer the questions. All right, so here we go. So we've got calculate damage, which takes these three, opening attack, core damage, and finishing move, and just adds these together, fine, and returns. Okay. Um, and 2 Celsius just does our formula and returns, okay. So then we pass in a 10, a 20, and a 30, so damage 1 should become 60, right? And we pass in a 5, a 10, and a 15, very similar. So, oh goodness. So damage 2 should become 30, right? And then temp 1, 2 Celsius, okay, so it should become 0, right? And temp 2 should become 100. All right, so we use def. And what's not an alternate term, so we don't use slots for that, but yeah, parameters, arguments. Sure. Um, reference the example functions and answer the questions. A function must be defined blank to be called many times with different arguments. So just once, it only needs to be defined once. Okay, so now we have hours to seconds. We need to be able to display the current time to our players. The problem is that the time is stored as a number of hours, but we want to display it as a number of seconds. There are 60 seconds in a minute, but how many are in an hour? Okay. Now that I'm trying to talk, I think I gotta blow my nose. All right, I'll come back in a sec after I blow my nose. All right, let's see then. So we'll do, whatever was asked for here. So 60 seconds, how many in an hour? All right. So if we are given hours, then we have to do times, right? So return, we got hours, we do times, 60 minutes. And like, honestly, when we do this, and times 60. So we times 60 uh, minutes in an hour, times 60 seconds in a minute. So now we know why we chose these numbers, right? So then we can do that, and we could say 10, 1, 25, 100, 33, whatever. All right, so that's fine. Let's bring it over to our other editor area. Okay, So this one was called hours, basically, right? Hours to seconds? Sure. Okay. So now we will do hours to seconds, right? Just kind of paste that. And so we want to print, right? So include. I was thinking maybe we want to like create a print function that works like Python's. I had that thought come to me, but I don't know if I want to do that right now. Maybe though. All right, so let's see. We know we're gonna test a few times, so right. Uh-huh. Don't touch below this line, I guess. So this, I guess, is void. Test hours. Hours will be int. This will be int. This, let's see here. Hours is something like that. It's funny how we use this overloaded operator. And we saw that in Boost as well, the way we use like overloaded operators for things. Okay, so then here we are gonna return an int, we think. We're gonna take an int here. And let's see. So we have to end our statement like that, return hours times 60. Whoops. And it's pretty much like that, right? So, I mean, straightforward, I guess. So let's echo. This one is called hours to seconds. CH. Okay, so I've got invalid. Okay, so I've got a comma in there still. Where's that at? Guess I should have found and replaced. Okay. And int main. Oh, I didn't end the test. Okay. And then here, oh, I didn't add in semicolons in this one. So 10 hours. Okay, so that one's fine. So let's commit. Hours to seconds. Sure. Let's do the next. None return. What happens if there's no return line in a function? So when no return value is specified in a function, it will automatically return none. Okay, so we see that example here. So we can have myfunc. There's no return mentioned anywhere, right? And so we should expect that if we do this, we can just copy here, right, real quick. We go into our Python, we paste, and now we say a equals myfunc, and then we should see that print out, I do nothing. Well, that's not how to spell it. Myfunc, sure. He says I do nothing, so what is a? Oh, it's nothing. What is a's type? None type, right? So if we print a, should we see none? We see none. Okay, so that's fine, right? So we didn't return anything, but we can put none on a. And, I mean, that's fine, I guess. So here, same thing, we returned and we put the none in there so we know. Or they just returned and they didn't list anything out. And that was none as well. So they all are the same, and we can just try these out. right? Like, so we could do it this time, and now it does say return, but it doesn't say what it's returning, right? But it should be the same thing, right? What does Python tell us about the none type? It can be true if self, else false. That's interesting. Interesting. So, all right. Do we want to see this one? It's just, yeah, it's the same thing. So we can go a equals, and we can go type a, and it's the none type. Print a, and that's the representation of it, right? We can even do like string a, and it turns into a string that says none. Stuff like that. What if we want to make an int of it? Can we do that? No, it's not allowed. Not none type. Okay. Anyway, so let's answer the question. What if there is no return line? It returns none. Very fun, right? Does Alan Turing roll in his grave? Interesting. Interesting to think about, I guess. All right, should we go to the next? What's the difference between printing a value and returning it? They are the same. No. Print shows a value in the console. True. Return makes a value available to the caller of the function and shows it in the console. Ah, well, it does not show it in the console necessarily. Now, like if we do a function, so we def sum something, I don't know, and we just say return hi. So now if we do call it, it will actually show it in the console, because that's just how the REPL works. If we put any value here, it just shows it. So like any value that you have, we can have this expression. So it'll evaluate the expression and then show like the result on the next line, right? That's just how the Python console REPL is. So yeah, but does it necessarily show it in the console? No, right? Because if we do sum plus guys, it didn't show the hi that was returned. It just showed the overall result of evaluating this entire expression here, all right? So, print, so this one's opposite, right? Print makes a value available to the caller of the function. Return shows a value in the console, so that has switched them. All right, let's go to the next. Multiple return values. A function can return more than one value by separating them with commas. Okay, cool. So here it returned damage, new mana, and returned 2 values. Okay, so let's copy this one real quick. And we already kind of saw a lot of this action here. So if we cast Ice Blast, all right, so I guess we need a level. So I'm going to say 1 and 1 maybe. Let's see what it says. Okay, so we see a 2 come back, that's the damage, and -9, I guess, is the new mana. Alright, so now what if we say z equals, what do you think z is? It's a tuple, right? You should know that it comes back as a tuple in that case, because there's only one thing, and we saw this yesterday in the assignment statement here, where if the target list is a single target with no trailing comma, optionally in parentheses, the object is assigned to that target. Okay, so now if we do put a trailing comma on there, then it should say that we have the wrong number to unpack. Too many values to unpack, expected 1. Okay, so we can put another thing there, and now z becomes the 2, and a becomes the -9, right? So we unpacked it. Yeah, so let's take a look. Receiving multiple values. When calling a function that returns multiple values, you can assign them to multiple variables. Okay, so they cast the Ice Blast, and we got the damage and the mana, and that worked fine. Okay, so when cast Ice Blast is called, it returns 2 values. The first value is assigned to damage, and the second value is assigned to mana. This happens because that's the order they were returned in, not because of their variable names. Okay, so Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's important to remember is the tuple, it's like ordered. Everything is like this is the first item, this is the second item. And in fact, if we do this z again, we can do z sub 0 to get the 2 and sub 1 to get the -9. So we can get the individual elements by passing an index like that to a tuple. So we could just as easily just call the variables 1 and 2. This would make the code harder to understand, though. It's better to use descriptive variable names. Okay, sure. So what happened to the variables? The variables damage and new mana only exist inside of the cast Ice Blast function. Trying to use damage outside of cast Ice Blast causes an error. The reason for this is scope, which will be explained later. Okay, so we'll come back to it later, sure. Complete the become warrior function. It accepts 3 inputs: first name string, last name string, and power integer. It should return 2 values. One will be a title, so add the warrior to their name in this format. Okay, so let's do it. So we'll say we're going to return some things. The first one will be an F string, I guess, which has first name in it, first name, there it is. And then we'll put last name, and then we'll put the warrior. Sure. Okay, so that's the first. Oh gosh, what is this? This one is difficulty 8. Okay, okay. So then, obviously the difficulties are sort of like relative to like where is a person in the course, where are they in their learning journey, right? Like obviously this is very early in the course. So if it's difficulty 8, that means that it has apparently challenged a lot of users. But a user at this point in the course, who knows how much like knowledge they have in general at this point. So make sure the format is exact. Do not add capitalization or punctuation. I mean, who knows? I might get it wrong when I submit. We'll see. A new power value that is equal to the input power plus 1. Okay, so we will totally put that. So become warrior, we add 1 to the power. So I'm going to put a comma and put power plus 1. And I mean, that's all that's asked for, right? So just run. Frodo Baggins the warrior has a power level of 6, all right, because we incremented it. And I mean, that's it. So let's submit. Okay, so that's fine. So let's see what the tip says. F strings can be used to format strings with variables. Okay, so yeah, we did use that technique, so that's fine. All right, so let's copy this over into our other gizmo here. So I'll exit this. We'll come back here and make something for multiple return values. Okay, let's hop in there. Nope, not parameters. And let's go into multiple return values CPP file. Let's paste that in there. Okay, do we want IOStream? Looks like it. And I just keep using this namespace. It's just easy for me to stick with it for consistency at this point, I guess. So, become warrior. This one, oh, okay, so now here we go. So in C++, when we want to return 2 values, do we have a tuple in C++? I think so, but I think I'm going to have to look it up. C++ tuple. Let's take a look. So the standard tuple is a fixed-sized collection, and so let's see. We can create a tuple with tie, I guess, or we can access an element with get. This all seems good. We have some operators for comparison. That's neat. We can do swapping. We can make tuple. We have a constructor. That's fun too. So let's go ahead and include tuple, and we'll see how this goes. Okay, so we know we want this to return a tuple that has a string and an int, right? So let me just take a look. So the type is called tuple, right? And then where do we define the types that are in the tuple? I'm imagining it might be something like tuple, and then I just put string int, maybe, right? And then that would be what it would return. Then we would put, this is a string, right? This would be an int. And then return tuple. And so the constructor, it said, should construct a new tuple. And it just takes some different args, I guess. So I'm imagining it would be something like this. We can put that there, close the function there, open it there, and then, so this would not be like that, but it would just be like first name plus, so we're concatenating here, plus, and then this is a string like this. Okay, so like that, return tuple. Okay, so then we'll have that. And then this one can't be called name, I guess, but let's just call it, so what is it called? Multiple return values. Okay. It actually might not allow us to use test this way before it's defined. I'm not totally sure yet. Let's find out. Whoops. Let's do this, I guess. And then test. This one is going to be a void. Is this one also a void? Yeah, this one's a void, right? Okay, so the input will be a string int, sure. Okay, so now we want to assign a tuple here, but we want to unpack it. What does it say something here about the unpacking? We can get specified elements, obtain the type. Let's see, okay, so here we go. So we said we want a tuple int in this example. So then, okay, so we were allowed to do it like in this sort of literal syntax, so that seems nice. Let's switch to that literal syntax just to see if it works. If not, we can switch. So this will be squiggly. This will be squiggly. Okay. And then we had the option of constructing it like that or with make tuple. Okay, so I'll try this one first, and if not, then I will go to, I guess, make tuple. So if we want to unpack, we can do get. So maybe that's good. Maybe that's smart. Get 0. So then, okay. Interesting. So maybe we want to unpack it just by using get, which is not clearly not as nice as what we can do in Python. in terms of just with Python, it's extremely terse, right? And I think that's a very good thing in this case. Or we can do tie. So tie, that's actually going to be really nice, right? We can just literally do that, tie. And then they went get student. Okay, so let's just try tie. So here we're going to say tie. Yeah, that might be okay. So did they have to declare these first? GPA 2, grade 2, and name 2? Yeah, okay. So let's do that. So string result 1 and int result 2, and then we tied to unpack. Okay, I'm cool with that. That's nice. If it works, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. But so then the print will, I guess, do cout again. Oops, not there. Sure. And then we'll put something in here, I guess. Okay, so then here, int main. So this will be multiple return values. Okay. Is that how we think it is? Return. Yeah, let's see what it says. So let's echo. This one will be called multiple return values. Okay. And then let's ch. Test was not declared in this scope. Okay, I had a hunch. So we do have to declare this before we mention it elsewhere. Okay, again. So it shows Frodo, Bilbo, Gandalf. Okay, so that's what we saw here. And I think that's fine. So, yes, I would say that that worked really well. So let's kind of review what we have here. Nope, not that one. Okay, so here's what we have. We decided to include tuples so that we could use tuples like we have in Python. So we declared that this would return a tuple of string and int, so I like that. And then we just returned it using this syntax, which is quite nice. Pretty much the same as what we had in Python, except we just changed the round braces to squiggly. And then here, when we want to get the tuple unpacked, we use this tie function. We do, of course, declare the variable types first, because in C++ we do that. Although we can do like auto sometimes. In this case, I guess we wouldn't be able to rely on any kind of type inference, I don't think. Maybe I'll learn more about that. But I think that this looks pretty nice, right? It just worked really, really nicely, I think. So I think this standard tuple seems amazing. I love it. All right, let's go to the next. Okay, parameters versus arguments. Parameters are the names used for inputs when defining a function. Arguments are the values of the inputs supplied when a function is called. All right, so to reiterate, arguments are the actual values that go into the function, such as 42 or the Dark Knight or true, okay? And parameters are the names we use in the function definition to refer to those values, which at the time of writing the function could be anything. Okay. And again, that's not true in C++, because if we try to pass something as first name and we find that we tried to pass something that was not a string, the compiler will tell us that it refuses, right? But in Python, it could be anything. including in Python, we can call it without passing anything, I believe. Let's take a quick look. So if we use this, then we can say add 2 and 40 maybe or whatever, but we can also just say add nothing, and then it says, oh, they are required. Okay, good. In JavaScript, it won't check that for us like that. So, okay, so yeah, I'd mixed something up there. So it is important to understand this is all semantics, and frankly, developers are really lazy with these definitions. You'll often hear the words arguments and parameters used interchangeably. All right, so which are the values that are passed into the function by the caller? Arguments. Okay. Which are the inputs specified by the function definition? Parameters. All right, so, okay, we got another chest. That's fine. Let's grab it, baby. 2 more gems. Nice. So we could afford a baked salmon, but we've already got plenty of those. And, okay, 22.85% students. All right, that is fine. Let's go to the next. Default values for function arguments. So Python has a way to specify a default value for function arguments. This can be convenient if a function has arguments that are essentially optional, all right? And you as the function creator want to use a specific default value in case the caller doesn't provide one. A default value is created by using the assignment operator in the function signature. All right, so def get greeting, and so we said email, and we put a name, and it said there. So by default, we could say hello there, I guess, and that's fine. So we put in a name, Lane, and it said hello, Lane. We put in, well, we just didn't put in anything. It said hello there because that was the default, so that's fine, right? If the second parameter is omitted, the default there value will be used in its place. As you may have guessed, for this structure to work, optional arguments that have defaults specified come after all the required arguments. Okay. So assignment. Complete the get punched and get slashed functions. They should both take 2 integers as arguments, health and armor, and set armor to a default value of 0. Okay? Get punched. Create a damage variable equal to 50 minus the armor. The armor reduces the damage. Create a new health variable equal to the input health minus damage. We apply the damage. Return new health. And so then we have get slashed. Create a damage variable equal to 100 minus the armor. Create a new health variable equal to the input health minus damage, and return a new health. Okay, cool. So let's make sure we put in a default here, as we found the armor should be 0 by default, right? So that's what we'll use for a default-like number, basically. And then it said to create a damage equals 50 minus armor. Okay, that's great. New health equals, oh, this is the same thing. This one could also have a default, I guess. But it should have, well, it should, let's see. I guess it'll have an armor, and it'll have a damage. So then we will damage minus equals armor, new health equals health minus damage, return new health, right? And then here we'll just return get attacked, health, armor, 50. And here we'll return get attacked, health, armor, 100. Okay, so health after slash, let's see if we think it's right. So health 400, armor 5, health after punch 355. Okay. Health 400, armor 5, health after slash 305. Okay. So no armor, 300. Um, so these are just all the example tests or whatever. Okay, so I think we're good, right? So let's go ahead and copy this. Okay, so this one is called default values. Default values for function. Let's just say default values. Default values. Okay, let's paste this here. Okay, so the standard way that I remember to include default values is by function overloading. And I'll show what that means first, and then I'll look up online to see if there are other options. So overloading, I'm just going to do it first with overloading before looking up other options. Okay, so anyway, so this one returns an int. Int gets passed in, int gets passed in, int gets passed in. Okay. So damage minus equals armor, sure. This is an int, and there we go. Okay, so then this one is int, get punched. Okay, so I'm not going to do this. I'm not sure whether C++ supports doing that, but I know the way I learned it, so I'm just going to do it the way I learned it first. So these are going to be passed in as ints. Okay. So now, what function overloading means is that we actually just define it again. Okay, but this time with a different signature. And what that means in this case is because we want armor to be optional, we just don't include it here. And then we return get punched. And then we put the default in here, all right? So I mean, it's straightforward. So that's really it. We just put the 0 in there by default. I'm just going to finish it this way, and then I am curious to look up whether there is something that looks more like Python's syntax for this. Okay, so that's pretty much that part. Let's look at the test. So this one's a void, takes in an int and a second int. Okay. So if we have an f, I guess the f is optional. Oh. Let's just not do the f at first. See out. Okay, so we don't want f strings. Let's get rid of those. Okay, and so then when we see this at the end of the line, or just this, let's say we want yeah. Okay, so how's that? Okay, int main. What am I pressing? There we go. Okay, so that's our C++. Let me look over some of this. So we see out some things. Okay, so that's fine, I guess. All right, so what I don't have here is wherever it says health like this, we'll need to actually put that into the output. So let's change it. So I have it where it says health like this. I still don't know, like it could be health or it could be armor, right? But I don't think it's actually like a regex here. Let me just see what happens. So if it were a regex, I think the capture group could be like $1. I don't think it works that way. I don't know how it works exactly. But basically what I would do is I would say, so instead of doing that, we're gonna end, then put in $1 here, and then put another like that. But it didn't find that pattern because I don't know how to use the regex. Let's see here. Vim regex replace. Okay, so it's the substitute command, and so this is how I started it. Pattern replacement. We did use regex here. Insert 2 ends of lines. Hash character followed by one or more. Oh, they escaped the plus. So do I just have to escape things to make it work? I don't know. I'm just gonna do them one at a time for now. Yeah. All right. And then the armor. Okay. And then get slashed or get punched. Those ones are different each time. Okay, so I'm gonna put in this. We call that. Sure. Here we have a new line. Okay. Oh, actually, no, that's not. So if we need 2 of them, that's fine. And then what about this one? Okay, so let's get rid of that part. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, that looks better. Okay, let's see what it tells me. Echo, this one is called default values. Okay, missed a semicolon. All right, so is this what it said in the other one? 5, 355, 305, etc. $300, $253, $203, $200, $250, $151, $101. Does that all look right? I think I have, let's see here. So we did 2, and then there was an extra new line. And then 1, and then there was an extra new line. I don't know why it's that way. And then 3 with no extra new lines. Okay, well, yeah, it looks like it pretty much matches exactly, which is what I'm going for. So I'm going to commit. Default values. Okay, let's go to the next. Oh, yeah, I'm going to skip optional challenges. So let's go ahead to the next chapter. Scope. Scope refers to where a variable or function name is available to be used. For example, when we create variables in a function, such as by giving names to our parameters, that data is not available outside of that function. All right. When the subtract function is called, we assign 5 to the variable x, but x only exists in the code within the subtract function. Okay, cool. If we try to print x outside of that function, then we won't get a result. In fact, we'll get a big fat error. Okay. So find the bug on line 10. We're using variable names from the wrong scope. Fix it. And then the video mentions for loops and lists to prepare for them later. Okay. All right, so let's see what it says. It says name modifier is not defined. That's pretty messed up. All right, so here it said modifier. Oh, no, wait. Don't touch above, don't touch below. So we just wanted to switch here. Right? So now if we run it, it's fine. So let's grab this one. So this one is scope. We'll paste that there. Okay, this one should return an int, right? All right. So then this part is in int main, right? I guess. I keep doing that. Okay, then let's use this. Okay. Max health. Okay, so here we'll just say this. Right? So his max health is max health, yeah. Yeah, I think that's it. This one will be called scope. Max health is 50. All right, that's fine. Scope. Let's go to the next. Global scope. Oh yeah, this is the good stuff now. All right. So far we've been working in the global scope. That means that when we define a variable or a function, that name is accessible in every other place in our program, even within other functions. For example, so we said pi equals 314, def get area of circle, radius, return pi times radius. Okay, so because pi was declared in the parent global scope, it is usable within the get area of circle function. Okay, cool. So let's change how we are calculating our player's stats. The only thing we should need to define globally is the character level, and then let our functions do the rest. Okay, so we're going to do something up here, right? So declare the variable player level at the top of the global scope and set it to 4. Okay, cool. So player level equals 4. I mean, that's it? Okay. That is fine. Let's grab this. Oh, I completely skipped over looking for default parameters in C++. Default parameters. Okay, default arguments. So this is C++, and we are totally allowed to do this, and that's perfect. Okay, let's go back and change it. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't I totally just skipped right past that. It was a complete brain fart. As usual with me. But, yeah, let's go back. And so we're in functions. So the last one, so which one was that? It was default values, or it was, yeah, it was default values, right? Okay, so if we hop back in here, we totally don't want this at all. We just want to say equals 0, get rid of this, not necessary. We just want to say this totally equals 0. Get rid of this, and then try it again. And it should be the same. Okay, cool. So, yeah, I'm glad I didn't skip right over that. So let's say, so multiple return values is untracked. So then let's say git add, git commit, fix file to use default parameter or default arguments, right? Okay, so now let's go back to multiple return values. So we already did this one, right? Oh yeah, that one was a while ago. Multiple return values. Okay, so that catches us up. And now the most recent is multiple return values. No, we want global scope. Oh, okay, yeah. Global scope. So do we have anything here yet? Nope. Okay, let's copy this into there. Okay, so now let's, oh, I'm in visual. Okay. Okay, let's do this. So this will be int. So we'll just declare it right there, global scope, so to speak. And let's see how this goes. So this will be int it will take a int modifier, I believe, and we'll open that up. Then here, okay. Yep. Okay, and then here, we'll say cout. And here as well. Okay, so we can try something like that. So this part should be in our int main. Okay, something like that. So this is in our global scope. Let's make a note. Global scope. Let's see what happens. So let's echo. This one is called global scope. $40 max health, 15 primary stats. Okay, so that seems fine. Okay, let's go to the next. Okay, let me close these down again. All right, off we go to the next one. Scope quiz. Can functions access variables declared in the global scope? Yes. Can code outside the scope of a function access variables that are defined inside that function? No. All right. So unit tests. Up until this point, all the coding lessons you've completed have been testing you based on your code's console output, what's printed. For example, a lesson might expect your code, in conjunction with the code we provide, to print something like this. Okay, so armor 2, health 18, sure. If your code prints that exact output, you pass. If it doesn't, you fail. A new type of lesson. So going forward, you'll encounter a new type of lesson, unit tests. A unit test is just an automated program that tests a small unit, a quote-unquote unit, of code. Usually just a function or two. The editor will have tabs. The main py file containing your code, hooray. And the main test py file containing the unit tests. Oh, well, okay then. All right, so this is good. So these new unit test style lessons will test your code's functionality rather than its output. Our tests will call functions in your code with different arguments and expect certain return values. If your code returns the correct values, you pass. If it doesn't, you fail. Darn. There are two reasons for this change. It's more realistic. In the real world, you'll be writing unit tests and running them against your code to make sure it works as expected. And two, you can run and debug your code with print statements and leave those print statements in when you submit. Unlike the output-based lessons, you won't have to remove your print statements to pass. Okay. Complete the total XP function. All right, so that's here. It accepts two integers as input, level and XP to add. There are 100 XP per level. Total XP should convert the current level to XP, then add this current XP to the XP to add argument, and return the player's total XP. For example, if a player's level 1 and gains 100 XP, they have 200 total XP. If a player's level 2 and gains 250 XP, they have 450 total XP. Okay? And if player's level 170 and gains 590 XP, they have 17,590 total XP. All right? So, instead of pass, we'll just say that we are going to return 100 times level plus XP to add. So then we'll hit that. So now it says 2 passed. Isn't that fun? And then we'll submit, and it says 6 passed. Okay, so we hit something here. Cool. Let's spend it, baby. So, can we get a frozen flame? Indeed. Ah, now we have a minimum of one of each item. Love it. All right, so let's see here. Tips. The pass keyword is a way to tell Python to do nothing. You'll need to replace it with your own code. Take a look at the main test py file at the top of your editor. You can read the tests, but you can't edit them. Okay, cool. And if a lesson expects a returned value, make sure to always return a value, or else you may encounter some cryptic none type errors. Let's take a look. So if we just remove this, right, and we just do this expression, and now we run, and it says none, none, fail, fail. It didn't show errors, though. It just said fail, fail. But anyway, yeah, so of course we probably want to return the result of the expression. Return, I mean. And then it's fine. Pass, pass. So that's cool. So let's go ahead and look at C++ unit test. So how to unit test? Let's take a quick look. Okay, so apparently there are a lot of things, and everybody is trying to like promote their own favorite. All right, not a big surprise necessarily. So yeah, in reality, I guess we can just go ahead and not even worry about a runner necessarily. I don't know. Maybe we want a runner, maybe we don't. So the main test py file, it's not using like anything fancy, right? It's just importing, running, and all that. So let's sort of follow their example and just do something that is like basic here. So let's copy what we've got here. And let's see. So we are on unit tests, right? Oh, so this is a new, oh, wait a minute. Oh, all that scope stuff was a separate, different chapter, actually. Okay, so let's make dir. I've got introduction, I've got variables. And I'm in functions, so we want to make scope. Okay, so then inside of functions, we have scope. So let's move scope to scope. And let's move global scope. Sure. And then we had multiple return values, default values, hours to seconds. So those were all part of functions, right? So scope itself only had those two exercises and those two quizzes. Okay, so now we want a new chapter. Which will be called testing, and it's called testing and debugging, right? I think so. Testing and debugging. Okay. So now we're going to do unit tests. So then let's make our unit tests test CPP. Okay, and paste that in there. Okay, cool. All right, we'll hop up to the top. So we were like using that file. So So in this one, I guess it's going to be total XP. Okay, so let's go out and we're going to make unit tests CPP first, I guess. Let's grab that. Oops. And we'll just put that in there. So in this case, we don't need to do anything. We just need to say this is going to be an int. It's going to take an int, and it's going to take a second int. It's going to be a function. And that's it. Okay, so now I believe we need a header file. Okay, so then I guess I would cat unit tests CPP into unit tests H. But here we just want the signature and not that. I believe is how it goes. I'll see if it complains to me. So then in the unit tests, we are going to say we want to hash include, and we're going to include our unit tests H. But we'll also want our IO stream. Okay, so then we have an array of run cases. Let's see. So these are just 3 tuples each. I'd kind of rather almost make it just an array of arrays. So when we do these arrays, we do use squigglies. Uh-oh. What did I do? Okay, so what does it say? Incomplete element type. Okay, let's see here. Let me just quickly look this one up. Array of arrays. So they put int star star. Okay, 2-dimensional array. It cannot be resized in any direction. So this is, I thought, what I wanted. Oh, okay. It does still say something, incomplete element type, but I'll come back to it if it still complains later. So then submit cases equals run cases plus. Oh, interesting. C++ array concatenation. So we did copy. Okay, let's see. Combine them into one larger array that contains both arrays' values, excuse me. So we don't need a dynamic array. We know, like, these are static bits of data. So what I would probably tend to do would be to declare the submit cases first, maybe, and then declare the run cases as the first two elements of the submit cases instead of concatenating as they've done here. So maybe let's just do that. So I would put those in there. I would say not this. And then let's go to the end. Okay. And then I would say int and then I would say int run cases equals, and then can we do like C++ array slice or something? I'm just gonna make this work. Or try to. This one I guess is void probably, right? So what are the inputs? Int, int, int. Okay, so wherever we have got print here, let's replace. And then yeah, I guess I don't really have a distinction between run and submit here locally, at least not at the moment. Okay, so then if we do this for um so I'm just gonna, I guess, say test cases, because I don't really have like a distinction right now, right, between um submit cases and run cases. I'll have to think about it. Let's see. Okay, don't want that. What was it here? So we did input. Oh, okay, so let's put a comma in there. And then it just ended. Okay. Okay, and then we have a result. And then if why do I have a true? True. Okay, so does this part look okay? So int test cases. Not sure. C++ declare array of arrays. Sure, let's see it. Yes. So do I need those numbers in there? Maybe? Maybe. Okay, so how many is it down? 6. And 3 wide. Oh, okay, well the complaint disappeared. Alright. Then here we want to go for C++ for each. We do have that, right? I think Geeks for Geeks is pretty amazing. Okay, so we use a colon like in Java. Cool. All right. Must be an initializer list. Okay, so test cases is here. Must be an initializer list. I'm not sure. Okay, so then this will be bool. Let's see here. So they put a star in there, which in Python is unpacking. So they unpacked it into there, which is cool. I don't think we can do that here. So if okay, so else. Okay, so then here, I'm gonna go x. Okay. So I need to figure that one out. But let's echo real quick. So this one is called unit tests. And then it should say, okay, initializer fails to determine size of test case. Okay. And then here, I'm afraid we're just going to have to say 0. So in a test, so array must be initialized with a brace enclosed initializer. Okay. I'm not sure. I got this from Geeks for Geeks, which I don't love, to get it from Geeks to Geeks rather than from CPP reference or something. Okay, C++11. Okay, so we did int I from array. Okay, fine. And it says array must be initialized with a brace enclosed initializer. And then I'm on 44, I missed a squiggly, it looks like. So let's get that. Okay. So do we want this? It seems a little crazy. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna allow that. But let's see what it says. Okay, so must be initialized with a brace enclosed initializer. Okay, so I'm going to say for int I equals 0, I less than test array length. Oh, this is a really basic thing. C++ array length. Let's see, I do remember this. Okay, so in for loop, size of maybe it should be a vector, huh? Yeah, probably. CPP reference array. Let's take a look. Yeah, this one. Okay. Okay, let's take a look. So we have to say it's an array of int 3 array. Okay, so it's an array of int 3, and then this one has 6, right? And then do we show an example? Probably. Probably. Double braces required, or never required after equals. Okay, well, I used equals. Okay, so then array int 3 Too many initializers. Okay. int3, int6. It's calling me to 13. Okay, no, it still says the same. Okay, let's see here. int3, 6 test cases equals too many initializers. Too many initializers. C++ standard array of standard array. Okay, that seemed right. It looks like there was sort of an extra thing going on here, but this is AI overview. It might be okay. Oh gosh. Yeah, I mean that would fit with the idea of too many initializers for sure. Um, Undefined reference to total XP. Okay, well that's better. So total XP is supposed to come from the unit tests H, right? That's the total XP. Let me look up C++ using header file. Okay, so we have a declaration. Okay, so we'll declare something to use in a different source file. All right. I do recall that we were always supposed to have some kind of namespaces. Okay, okay. So let's try that. Namespace unit tests. I don't know about that. And then in include unit tests.h using namespace unit tests, and then in here using namespace unit tests. So now what does it say? No, it still says the same thing. Undefined reference to unit tests total XP int. Okay, so then when we go to use it, my program, include here, all right. It's not quite time for a break yet. Okay, so here's an example. So sample header file namespace Um, they did a class method here, right? My class do something, so that's good. Um, so it was total XP, so now it's unit tests total XP, undefined reference. Header in local directory, okay. Okay. I think I built it wrong though. So in the main, I think we need to do it differently. So I built the unit test CPP to out. I don't think I built it right. So G++ help. So when we go to build it, we're supposed to put the file with a directory for the compiler search path. Let's see. Options starting with undefined reference to main. So I don't have an include guard, but let's see. Header file might potentially be included by multiple files. Cannot contain definitions that might produce. I think what we're doing is going to be pretty similar to what I did. I'm going to open up another window. Exorcism C. So here, it's kind of a lot of tests here, but basically this is C, but I think some of this is going to be similar. We include the circular buffer H, right? So that's kind of what I'm thinking. It's that if we include this circular buffer H, that's good. So then in the circular buffer C, oh shoot, do we need to like make this? Darn. Let's see here. So GCC getting started C++ header files. tutorial here. Okay. All right, hit me with it. Getting started. All right, so here's a simple one. We're good with that. Yep, we kind of do that. C++, yep, good with that. So now, okay, so headers, searching for header file. CPP-V. Wait a minute, wait a minute. Make. Okay, so we have hello world here. Okay. So they used a -C. Okay, so this is the make file. So it says hello exe. Okay, so it's just a graph, right? Or a DAG of the dependencies of each. Okay. So hello exe requires the hello O. Okay. So we'll have a target, and we'll have prereqs, and we'll have commands. Okay. Okay. Sure. Okay, let me go back to this one. So okay, so no, it's still undefined reference. I have the unit tests.o. So then here, they did O. Okay, so no good. But when did I do that? I don't recall. No? Okay. G++, C++, using header files in same directory, I guess. Okay, so they have a lib1 with a lib1h. Okay. This doesn't really give me the super beginnerish information. Maybe this will give the super beginnerish information. Okay, so we had a header file, void my function. Okay, let me check my header file again. Okay, so I put a namespace. They didn't put a namespace. I think I'd rather not have it if I can get away without it. Because I'm trying to keep things simple right now. Okay. So then we had a source file that includes, but it has a main. Oh, well, this doesn't seem complete. Where's the implementation of my function? That's messed up, man. Messed up. Okay, good. This one sounds beginnerish. I'm at the very beginner stage here, baby. Okay, so let's see. So we just chose all of these. Okay, so let's see what will happen. G++, and then we're going to mention the files that we need, which are going to be unit tests CPP and unit tests test CPP. Okay, so I didn't edit that in the other ones. Let's get rid of that namespace. It doesn't seem necessary. Okay, let's get rid of that. Okay, so then let's try this again. So now it says okay. So let's go into the main SH. So we think that we need to say unit tests CPP like that. And now, is that all we needed? Okay, so we just needed to tell it both the names of the files that we were about to use. So I'm going to commit that, and I'm going to take a break. Just 5 minutes. Unit tests. Okay. Oops. What was I trying to push? Okay, so these were all changing the scope. Move scope exercises to scope chapter directory. All right. Okay. I'll come back in 5 minutes. All right, let's continue. Let's see. Man, my hair looks really bad. All right. Okay, so where are we at? Just fix my music here. All right. Let's close these out. All right, all right. Okay, should we look at the next one? These were submitted just fine. Nope. Try again. Oh. Okay. So two lesson types. As we talked about, there are two types of coding lessons on boot.dev. One, console output lessons, and two, unit test lessons. So console output lessons, only one file of code, usually with a comment explaining where to write your code. When you quote unquote submit your code, its console output must match the expected output exactly to pass. Debug print statements will cause your code to fail submission, so remove them before submitting. Unit test lessons, two files of code, main and main test. You can read the tests, but you can't edit them. When you submit your code, the return values of your functions must match the expected values exactly to pass. Console output is ignored. You can leave debug print statements in your code. So which is more common? Going forward, you'll encounter far more unit test lessons than console output lessons, but you'll still see both from time to time. Different concepts are better suited to different types of lessons. Okay, so you can submit which type of lessons with your debugging code? Yeah, because it won't look at it. Okay, so next. So this is called debugging. So when you're working as a professional developer, you'll typically write code on your computer and test it by yourself before it's deployed to users. Nice. That sounds smart. That first part of the process is called debugging. You write some code, run it, and if it doesn't work, you fix the bugs. You repeat this process until you're confident that your code works as expected. Okay, fair enough. At boot.dev, the run button is for debugging. Okay. The submit button mimics the idea of publishing your code for production use. Okay, so if we run, we're like, oh, it failed, so we don't want to submit it yet if it's failed, basically, right? So you should be debugging your code using the run button. You should be adding print statements to your code to make sure it's doing what you think it's doing at different points in the code. So write a line to calculate a value, print the value you calculated, run the code. Did it print what you expected? If not, fix it and repeat. You will never lose XP or be penalized on boot.dev for using the run button. However, there are consequences for submitting broken code, just like there are career consequences for pushing broken code to your users. Well, okay then. So the submit button will run additional tests. When you use the run button, a few tests will run against your code. However, the submit button will run additional tests that you're not able to debug against. That's what keeps it fun and realistic. It's so hard to know what users will do with your code. Okay, so complete the take magic damage function. It should return the new health after calculating how much magic type damage the player takes. Here's a description of the arguments. Okay, so health, the player's starting health. Resist, the player's magic resistance. This reduces the damage they take by a static amount. Amp, the attacker's magic amplification. This increases the damage they deal by a multiplier. Okay. Spell power, the base damage of the spell. Okay, so first, so let's see, what are we returning? The health that they have left? Okay, so the health that they have left is going to be the health that they have, and we're going to subtract the amp times spell power. subtract resist. However, if the resist is too high, could that add health? And if so, is that wanted? Let's see what we get when we submit that first of all. So it says to pass. All right, so then let's look here. So calculate the total damage to be inflicted by multiplying the spell power by the amp, then subtract the resist from the total damage to get the actual damage dealt. Apply that damage to the player's health and return the new health. So here it doesn't say anything about like, what if the resistance is so high that it adds health? Let's see. Do any of the tests cover a case like that? So this is 100 down to 65, I guess. This is 200 down to 185. Seems straightforward. Here it's just straight zeros. Here it's straight ones. This one went 100 down to 99, and this one went 2,500 down to 2,499. And let's see. So here the amp. So it was 2 times 2, but it was subtracted by 3. Okay, so I mean, we're good there based on what they have. So let's copy. And I guess, honestly, I'm going to do it similar to the last one, and let's just see if I can do it a little bit faster this time. But there are still some niceties that we are going to want, like thinking about a distinction between run and submit cases. I don't have that yet, obviously. So let's go back into testing and debugging. So we're going to make debugging. And then we're going to do test CPP. Paste that in there. Okay, so we are going to include IO stream. We're going to include debugging H, but this one's in quotes. Okay. We'll use the namespace as I usually do. Just this. Okay. So we don't need to worry about that. And yeah, I'm going to do the same thing again, just make it all just test cases. I'll use array again. And then this will be array, int, and we have 5 of them, right? And then how many of these do we have? 6. Okay, and we do that. And then let's see. So let's replace all of these with squigglies, right? And then let's see. So okay, let's skip that and skip that. Okay, what is this one? A bool? Okay, so all of these are ints. Oops. Okay, this one is also an int. Okay. All right, a decent start, I suppose. Okay, so now let's do another substitution where every place that I have an opening brace like that, let's sub that with um, a double quote like that. Okay. And then let's replace the other squiggle with that. Yeah, well, it's better. Okay, so then let's get rid of this. Oh, there as well. All right, let's put a semicolon. Nope, that's an int. So that's an int. Then what else do we have? Let's get rid of this f. Okay, take magic damage. That's not defined. That will be defined in the other file. Okay, so then if okay, that's our test, I guess. So then I guess this will be our int main probably. And so once again, this part here is not necessary. We'll want that though. We'll want that. Okay. And we'll want some semicolons. Okay, so then this, we think we can do like this. And then here, so let's look this one up. So we want to go C++ spread. Yeah, just any kind of spread, some kind of spread. Let's see what they say. So this is not what I want. I'm looking for like variadic arguments. Or not even variadic, excuse me, spread arguments. Yeah, spread arguments, basically. Okay, so it's, yeah, I said variadic because a lot of times that would sort of be the idea, but no, like, oh, wait a minute. I feel like it seems almost related in a way. So if we use a triple dot, Like this is like if we implement the print, which we probably should, then it could be using like a triple dot thing here. So I wonder if we can maybe pack expansion does not contain any unexpanded parameter packs. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna work. So what we did last time is I was just like 0, test case 1, test case 2, which last time was all there was, but this time it's also test case 3 and test case 4, which is kind of crazy. Like, if we know... Oh, wait, hold on. So if we know that that's the way that we're going to call this, then I guess we could say that it's expecting to have an array, and then these things could be array indexed, but I don't know. I think it makes more sense this way, but using something like the star in Python. So let's look. So let's go back to assignment. Yeah, here, simple statements, because this is the main doc. So wait, language reference. Okay. So if we go ahead and do a function, no, hold on. Function definitions, type parameter lists. I don't think that's it. Well, I mean, even here it mentioned like that it was a starred target, so prefixed with an asterisk. I guess I'm just looking for like if it's a starred expression, then what is that? Unpacking. Unpacking. C++ argument unpacking. Yeah? Template parameter pack accepts 0 or more template arguments. And then here, we had an array of bool or whatever. And then let's see. This doesn't seem very related. What I want is simpler, much more beginnerish. Okay, so explanation. So template types args, okay. So that was a pack expansion. All right, so to be able to do that, we have to do what? ts ... args. I don't think it's gonna help. Okay, I think that part should be all right. So then what is this? Oh, this has to be what it is. So array int 5. And array is from here. Okay. All right, let's go make the other file. So debugging h and debugging CPP. Okay, so CPP is going to have this in it. Okay, so it's not a lot. So we want to here go ahead and include debugging h, debugging and then here, let's see, so this will be int int, int. Right? So then let's put that debugging CPP into our debugging H. Uh-oh. These things were supposed to be in the debugging folder, so mv okay. All right, so now don't need that. Okay. So now we'll echo like this. And so here we know we're going to have to include debugging CPP and debugging test CPP, just like that. Okay, so F, okay, let's get rid of that. Oh, darn. That's in the C, okay. Yeah, there's a lot more there, isn't there? Oh, right here. Okay. Just this one. Okay, so I could have done this at the same time. So past let's try it again. Okay, so we got 65, 185, 0, 1, 99, 24, 99. Okay, so that's good. I'm gonna commit, and I wanted to do more today, and I probably should do more, but I'm hungry. I'm gonna get food, and I'm gonna come back tomorrow.